Welcome back to my channel AI True Scale, the show where we meet the founders, innovators, and visionaries who are turning real-world experience into a business that matters. Today's guest is someone who walked away from a coast-to-coast corporate career to answer a calling most of us aren't ready for: full-time caregiving. Not once, not twice, but 3 times she cared for her parents through Parkinson's and vascular dementia, and her mother-in-law through Alzheimer's. Then she turned every lesson, every tear, and every laugh into a movement. She's a best-selling author, a keynote speaker, a certified caregiving consultant, and the CEO of The Purple Wine. Please welcome Debbie Compton.
Hello,
Welcome, Debbie.
thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
So, Debbie, tell us about the story and the journey, and what moment did you realize caregiving was your calling, not just your duty?
Well, I was traveling coast to coast and supporting a team nationwide, and my mom had vascular dementia, but she was very high functioning, and I didn't know enough about the disease to really understand how bad things were going to get. So I was just rolling along and things were fine, and then Dad developed Parkinson's. And he started rapidly declining and needing more help. So it became evident pretty quickly that someone was going to, they needed more care. Someone was going to need to take care of them. And as their daughter, I felt like it needed to be me. I felt like I could take care of it better than anybody else. So I wouldn't really trust anyone else to. And so I started helping with them on the journey. And then we were able to care for Dad in his home until he passed away. And then shortly after he passed away, my mother-in-law developed Alzheimer's. And so we were continuing on, and she lived with us the last year of her life, my husband and I, for the last year of her life. So I had her and my mom. So my mom was the first one diagnosed and the last one to pass away. She had vascular dementia for 21 years. And my dad's journey was about 7.5 years. My mother-in-law's journey was about 7 or 8 in there. But I didn't plan on caregiving. I planned on retiring at my job, and I'd been there for 15 years. So I was well on the way, but things changed. So when things take a drastic change like that, you have a choice. It can either be a stumbling block or a stepping stone. And so I chose to have it be a stepping stone and just supply the need. I started learning everything that I could, studying everything available to try to learn about these diseases because I had no idea what I was doing whatsoever. And so the challenge came in that there wasn't a lot of great information out there. And the information that was there, we tried, and most of it didn't work. So we had to come up with our own way of doing things anyway. And fortunately, my husband and I are very creative, so we came up with our own solutions and things. And it was when my mother-in-law was passing in our guest room. I had hospice come in, and they saw the bed alert system that my husband and I created and the door safety system. And the little hospice nurse said, "Where did you read about that?" And I said, "We didn't read about it anywhere. We created it because the stuff on the market didn't work." And she said the words that changed the trajectory of my life, because she said, "Other caregivers need to know about this. This would really help them." And I was just floored. I couldn't believe it because I thought everybody else had it figured out. I thought I was the only one. I'm the last one to the party. I'm the only one that doesn't know what's going on. And so I prayed about it. And when I woke up the next morning, I knew this is why I went through this, so that I can help other people have an easier time than I had, because I learned a lot of things the hard way so that other people don't have to. You can learn from my mistakes and then find your own. There's plenty of mistakes out there to be made.
Correct. Yeah, that's true. So what I'm just curious, what did you do differently that was not on the market or the other caregivers didn't know about? I
Well,
want
one
to know the
thing,
creative part of it.
okay, one thing is, like, my mother-in-law was huge into wandering. She would get up in the middle of the night and just take off, and not just inside the house, but out the front door. And so, they suggested putting door alerts on the door. And so we did that, but that just let me know that she was outside. It didn't solve the problem. And they suggested changing from a handle lever door to a regular doorknob. So we did that, no effect. So then I put a childproof cap over the top of the doorknob, and
Mhm.
that helped quite a bit for quite a while. But then she still was able to figure that out to get out. So, and the thing that they tell you to do is I found that you're supposed to put a latch way up high on the door because they won't think to look up high. Well, she saw it. She pushed a chair over to the door, climbed up on the chair, and unlatched the door. And so that's a good way to break a hip. So we
Yeah.
didn't want that continuing. So I finally realized, you know what? I got a rubber doorstop and stick it on the inside of the door and wedge it so that the door stays shut. You can't get the door open with it. So just one of the things that we did. There's a lot.
Wow. Yeah, it's yeah, you just learn it's progressive, right? Like every time
Yes.
it doesn't work, you need to
Try
use
something
your brain
else.
again. And yeah, it's so the story reminded me of my little one and how we tried to keep him in his room getting out. And again, he did everything that your mother-in-law did. He figured everything out, and we just gave up. And he's like, okay, he's 3 now, so yeah.
Yeah, I put a baby gate across the bedroom door and she got hung up climbing over it. She got caught over it and stuck and then fell in the floor and I'm like, "Oh, this is not a good plan."
Ah, okay. It's very interesting. And at the same time, like I'm looking at your creativity and do something different. So, and also now you're teaching that to other
Yes.
caregivers. That's fantastic.
Well, because it
So,
might work for their person, just didn't work for mine.
right, right. Yeah, yeah. Surprisingly, it didn't work for your mother-in-law. That's
No.
so my next question is, how do you let go the corporate version of yourself?
Well, you don't fully let go. Boy, that's multifaceted. That's a good question. Because at first there was a lot of grief because I really missed my work. I loved my work. I enjoyed it. I loved the people that I was working with. And so it was very hard. It was a very hard adjustment. But then later I realized that my corporate training actually helped me to be a better caregiver because I was used to project management. Well, I definitely had project management with the three of them and trying to keep up with all the different medications and doctor's appointments and scheduling and just everything. So it really came into play. And then just all of that, the problem solving, because my brain works to solve a problem. I think that if there's something that you can't do, the only reason you can't do it is because you don't know how. So when we learn how, then we should be able to do it. Anyway, that's kind of the way that I approach everything is look at the chaos and make it into calm. Make it, give it structure and organize it. And then if it's a bad something that's happening, figure out a way to stop it from happening or at least reduce the occurrence.
Yeah, that's great. That's great philosophy. I think I really like it because giving up a career that you're doing for 15 years or plus, it's hard. And I hear you. I mean, like you're not going and meeting those people. So it's yeah. Hey, it opened the right door for you. So I'm very happy for that,
Thank you.
and especially for you, and also the people who are needing you. So that's
Yes, I agree. There's a master plan, we just don't always see it.
right. Yeah.
Hmm.
So you're known for using humor in grief. Where does that come from?
Well, I think in caregiving, again, you have choices. You always have a choice. And in caregiving, you're surrounded by so many things that are depressing and upsetting. And so I was finding myself kind of spiraling down into this gloom that I didn't like. And that's not who I am. My personality is much more cheerful. And so I had just a sharp talk with myself and was like, look, you always have a choice here. So I'm going to choose to laugh. And sometimes you're laughing to keep from crying. Sometimes you're laughing while crying, but laughter reduces stress and it helps if you can just I had to let go of perfectionism. That was the hardest thing for me because I like things to be just so. And leading a team of that many people and they know my expectations, I set out the expectations and this is what everybody needs to strive for. Can't
Hmm.
do that with three loved ones with different forms of dementia. You can tell them all day long. That's not going to matter. It doesn't make a difference. And so I had to adjust and realize, okay, this is like having grown up toddlers, running around here. They're going to get into everything. They're going to do all kinds of crazy things, and they're not going to just do what I say. So because I have to honor them also. And you don't like ordering your parents around or being this bossy thing. I want them to enjoy life. So I had to find ways to work within the parameters that we had and to help them be as joyful as they can. And for caregivers, like I said, it's a huge stress reducer. So if you can laugh faster, you're going to be healthier. And then the journey is more sustainable. If you can't laugh, if you can't bend, you're going to break.
That's awesome advice. I need to definitely take that advice dealing with my kids. Because I mean,
Yep.
we tend to like expect them to perfectly eat on the table and not make a mess. Don't don't throw the toys. So yeah, I think you're right. If you enjoy all that, they are going to enjoy. I mean, you can clean
Right.
everything after them. It's not
Yeah.
a big deal.
They're
So
only little for once, for a short time. They grow very
right.
fast.
Right. I mean, especially when you're working nine to
Hmm.
five, and after that, like you need to take care of them. It's again like caregiving with
Hmm.
children. It's the same thing
Hmm.
as taking care of someone who's going through something. And again, everyone seems to know and understand that what the caregiving with the children is, but not with the elders. So that
Hmm.
I think that's where you come into picture. But I'm taking your words truly and
Thank
how
you.
to make myself happy and also make kids happy. So that's interesting. Thanks, Debbie, for that.
Well, when you lower your stress levels, you're not just helping yourself, you're also helping your kids and everyone who's around you.
That's true.
Because when you're not as stressed, when you're completely stressed, you're not at your best. Your
Right.
patience is shorter, your anger is faster, all these things. So when you address your stress, you're actually helping your loved ones.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, what's something about dementia caregiving nobody prepares you for?
A lot of stuff. I mean, I had never even known anyone who had Parkinson's until my dad did.
Mm,
And when he started seeing aliens, I was freaking out. I was like, oh, no, what am I supposed to do? And that
mm,
was one of the things that was very upsetting because online the only thing I could find was don't argue with him. And that was just really not a good answer because he had a baseball bat beating mom's recliner because he saw aliens in the recliner. So my thought was, what if mom had been in that recliner? This
mm,
could have been a horrific story. So again, there's so many things. I was never prepared for, I was in the kitchen cooking. My mother-in-law was sitting in the living room. We have an open floor plan, so she could see me, I could see her. I'm at the stove, and all of a sudden she just starts laughing. I mean,
mm,
laughing. She's all by herself. She's not holding a book, not watching TV, nothing. And so I'm like, and after a while, I'm watching her and she's reaching down and she's petting and doing all these motions and things. And then she tells me, look at the tricks he's doing. And so there's nothing there, but, I was not prepared for that. Which I learned shortly thereafter. Just go along with them. Don't argue with them. Whatever they see, live in their reality because they can't live in ours anymore. And I finally
mm,
figured out that it was a little dog that we had that she was petting and he was doing tricks for her.
mm,
So my choice then is to be thankful and laugh and be glad that I don't have to feed him or take him out or clean up after him.
mm, mm. Yeah, yeah, true. I think it's a different thing that you learn. With
Hmm.
yeah, it's like you need to keep going, but at the same time, you just need to follow what's going on. Yeah, I mean,
You're not going to convince them that they don't
right,
see something that they can see.
right.
Because, like with a delusion or a hallucination, they
Mm-hmm.
see that thing.
Yeah.
And so, who are we to, can you imagine you see somebody standing in front of you and then I'm telling you it's not there, it's not
Mm,
real? You think I'm crazy, and then you get mad at me. And
true.
so it doesn't work that way at all, but you just encouraging them and letting them know that they're safe and that
Mm-hmm.
it's okay and that this is not a harmful visitor. Fortunately, hers was a playful little dog. In my dad's
Mm-hmm.
case, he thought the aliens were there to harm them, so we had to take a lot more aggressive steps with him.
Hmm.
But those and the drastic mood swings with my mother-in-law were very difficult to deal with because she
Hmm.
would be laughing one minute and throwing something at you the next. And so it was
Yeah.
very bizarre behavior.
Wow. Wow. I can imagine that, but I don't know what I would I would have done if I don't know what needs to be done. I think, yeah, for that, definitely someone who went through and sharing the experience with this is how it is, and as you said, don't
Mhm.
argue.
Right.
A simple thing that you need to do in
Hmm.
that situation will help instead of
And
fighting
yeah.
against it. And
And immediately in hers, when that happened, the first time she threw a glass of iced tea at me was the last time that she used a solid glass, because I changed to plastic because I didn't want glass busted all over the floor. So you learn
wow,
and you adapt and you pivot.
right.
It's all about being flexible. You have to be very flexible as a caregiver.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how it is, but I can, like, really, truly, um, when you're talking, I can really feel what you felt. And I think, it's a little bit, yeah, I don't know. I'm just getting a little bit anxious to
Yeah,
even know about it.
it's stressful.
It, it is. And I
Yeah,
think, yeah, that's why you need
you
coaching.
need support. Right. Yeah, I was just going to say you need coaching from someone who understands it, someone who has been there. And I think that's what sets me apart and gives me such an advantage because I have the certifications and I have the training, but I've lived it 3 times. And so I also know the real world side of it. And I also know, I know the book says to do this, but that doesn't work. So try this instead. And so I think that's what helps. And then I do the Zoom consultations so that a person doesn't have to get their loved one out and drag them somewhere and then be worried about them. And that's stressful in itself. I don't want to create more stress. I want to ease the caregiver's stress. So they schedule a Zoom meeting with me when their loved one is taking a nap or when they have someone that's coming over to watch a movie with them or something like that so that it can be more peaceful so they can get the support that they need and the ideas, the suggestions, the resources, whatever it is that they need. And sometimes it's just somebody to vent to that understands, and that's
Right.
fine. I am happy to do that because I do get it. It doesn't make sense. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's just they need a person to listen
Hmm.
to what's going on and
Right.
acknowledge it and just be there as a support. Yeah, truly. I mean, I can see the a value in that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, and the Zoom calls help because you can see face to face and you're acknowledging their pain and you're acknowledging what they're going through, and
Hmm.
especially you have the same experience and you're coming up with the tools like the creative tools that you're talking about, so that kind of practically help them.
Hmm.
It's not the theory, but you are suggesting them like, hey, yeah, do this and
Yeah.
so what do they think about the tools that you provide? Like, is it working for them, or for
Oh,
some people?
yeah. They are
Yeah.
so excited. And what's funny is that some of them are like, I should have thought of that. Why didn't I think of that? And I said,
Mm-hmm.
because you're stressed. When you're
Of
completely
course.
stressed out, you're limiting the oxygen supply to the brain. You can't come up with creative ideas when you're in a stressed out state. I'm not stressed about your situation, so I can help you find solutions. That makes a huge difference for them. And it's been fantastic because I was thinking of one gentleman that just, I mean, they had just written off that his wife had sundowners. You're just going to have problems with her at night. That's it. That's the way it is. And it turns out, as I was talking to him and visiting with him and asking lots and lots of questions and listening, that was not the case at all. The problem, what was happening was breakfast and lunch, he and she ate together. Supper time, the family came in. The kids were there. There was a lot of racket going on. There was a lot of noise. There was a lot of confusion, and it upset her. It made her very nervous. She loved them. She wanted to be near them, but she just could no longer handle it in a group setting like that anymore. And so we adjusted, and he and she ate together supper before the chaos started. And then I suggested that he take her to the bedroom and let her watch a movie while they ate. And so then while all the commotion's going on, she's having a peaceful time in the bedroom by herself. And that just, it changed their lives, changed the way that they were being able to interact with each other and relate to each other. And she could visit with the kids one on one as they came in the bedroom because it wasn't all the commotion.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Like, I mean, I don't know where you come up with the ideas, but yeah, If it's working, it's I think as you said, I think it's stress. It
Yeah,
doesn't it blocks you from thinking and
yes.
having try different things. Yeah, it's amazing. So another follow-up question is what are the age groups that you see? Like, is there any age group that you see? Like, is it any age?
Caregiver, any age of
Yeah,
caregiver that I'm thinking?
yeah.
It's predominantly women and predominantly like 40 to 60, somewhere in there is the biggest group.
Okay.
But but now what we're running into is that there are so many grandchildren who were raised by their grandparents. And so now we have very young caregivers taking care of their grandparents because their parents have just never been in the picture. So in a
Okay.
case like that, you've got people in your 20s that are caregiving. And it's so hard because they're just starting their lives and they're trying to take care of this grandparent that's at the end stages.
Yeah, that's the reason I asked. Like, are they even if you're in 20s, like when you have something like this, and you truly want to care, right? You truly
Hmm.
want to help either the parents or grandparents. It's just like they're either starting or they have kids, and there are so many responsibilities already on their plate, and
Hmm.
now you're topped off with like, hey, you need to take care of your parents for whatever reason. There's like increased stress, and yeah, it's I can imagine. When I talked to you last time, I went back and I was sharing this with one of my partner, and he was saying that I'm actually going through something like that with my mom, and I didn't know. I mean, like, I'm not stressed, but again, I call her every morning. So they're in different countries, so
Wow.
I call her every morning. I kind of sit with her for 30 minutes because his mom is taking care of his dad.
Mm.
So his mom is a caregiver.
Hmm.
So I didn't even know that I was doing it until you pointed out that there's
Yeah.
someone who was doing it.
Yeah. Well, that's the way with me. I didn't identify as a caregiver for a long time. I was taking
Mm-hmm.
care of mom and dad both, but I didn't think that I was a caregiver. I thought I
Mm.
was just a daughter helping out her parents. This
Right.
is just
Yeah.
what you do. But it just keeps getting more and more and more until I
Mm.
think you're
Mm.
finally hit with the reality of, okay, I am a caregiver.
Yeah, yeah, no. I think it's and I've been in that situation, especially with the kids. It's kind of like you get overwhelmed with a lot of
Hmm.
things, especially with the kids younger than 1 year, like when they're babies.
Hmm.
All you care about is like them, right? So
Right.
you don't bathe, you don't eat, you don't do anything, and you just need to take care of them. That's when I felt that stress, and I just wish like I used to call my friends and went out. I'm like, oh, I can't do this anymore. This
Yeah.
is like so stressful.
And you're
So
too tired if you do have a
yeah,
chance.
yeah,
It's like, I
yeah.
don't feel like it.
Right, right. So next question is, what surprised you most about building a caregiver community?
I think finding the people first off, because people don't identify quite often as caregivers. So when you say that you're doing a caregiver support circle, even caregivers are like, well, it doesn't, that's not going to help me. That doesn't really apply to me. And they don't really realize the benefit. And there's such a huge benefit in knowing that other people are going through the same thing that you're going through and that they can relate and that they understand. And then you also can gain perspective because sometimes I've seen people who are at the early stages of caregiving and things have not gotten tough at all yet. And they're over here thinking, I don't know how I'm going to survive. I can't do this. This is so hard. And I'm thinking, you better toughen up. You got a long ways to go.
Mm-hmm.
And so it helps them to hear someone else and to hear how this person is dealing positively and keeping their head above water, even though they're doing everything for their loved one. So it does help you get a good perspective on things too.
So as a follow up, so now where are you finding those caregivers?
I find them all over because there's not just one place where caregivers are at. They're on
Right.
Facebook, they're on LinkedIn, maybe they're on Instagram, maybe they don't do any of that. Maybe they're just at the local churches and a friend tells them about it. Senior centers. I do speeches at senior centers and educate them on warning signs and different things so that they can be better prepared. So they're all different places. That's the hardest part, is finding them and getting them to know that I'm here to help them.
Right. Also, identifying them as
Hmm.
caregivers is also
Hmm.
it's difficult even for that person. So it's kind of like, yeah, you are caring for elderly people, but you don't you don't
Yeah,
say that, hey, I'm a caregiver. So,
right.
oh,
And you
okay.
don't need
So
help. You're like, meh, I got it.
right. So
And you
yeah,
don't.
that. So what's your way to even contact them if or they are contacting you at this point?
Yeah, they reach out to me. I post some things online, some helpful information. I have a lot of people that sign up through my website and join my email list because I only email one time a week. I know that caregivers are busy. I know they don't have time to read an email every day, but once a week I send them helpful information, tips, strategies, tools that they can use. It's all useful information, and it's not overwhelming because it's long and involved or really lengthy or anything. It's just I get right to the nuts and bolts and share things that will help them. So they
Okay.
find me on my website, and then other people tell people about me. Other people have read my books, and so they contact me because they've read one of my books.
Okay. Okay. So that's a good way of
Mhm.
connecting and knowing you.
Mhm.
So how do you balance the mission side with the business side?
I think the mission, I'm doing what I do to support others because I feel like that's why I went through it. That's why I went through three times of the caregiving so that I can relate to different people in different situations. And I cared for Dad till he passed in his home. My mother-in-law passed in my home, and my mom had to place in a memory care facility, and she passed there. So I can relate to people in all the different aspects. Let me pause for a second. Let me
Yeah.
plug my let me plug my headset in. I think I'm hearing noise, and I don't know if it's getting low or what. Are you hearing that crackling? I
That
hear
one
a
right
little
there?
crackling sound. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's why I was holding my
Yeah, I saw you moving yours, and I'm hearing it, so I didn't know if it was me.
can you hear me? I can't hear you. Can you hear me, Debbie? I can't hear you. And I had a pop-up where it said ask Debbie to close and refresh and come back because it said your part is not recording. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, I can hear you
Yes?
now. Yes.
Okay. I don't know what yeah, I had a big thing in the middle of the screen that said you need to refresh and reload, and I thought,
Yeah, that's what popped up for me as well. I don't
okay,
know.
I don't know. I've never had that happen. Okay, sorry. I wonder if it has
No,
something
no.
to do with the storm going on outside. We've got a big storm coming in.
Okay.
So maybe that's what's happening. Okay,
Yeah, now I
there.
can hear you. I think it went away,
Yeah.
so
Yay.
we can
Okay.
continue.
Sorry.
So I think you probably answered that question. But let me move on to the next so we can just edit that part.
Okay.
What do employers usually get wrong about caregiver support?
A lot of times they don't offer any caregiver support and they don't understand what a caregiver is going through. They don't understand how the person might need to immediately leave because their loved one has fallen, has had a stroke, had whatever the case may be. So employers need to be more flexible with caregivers and need to understand that they are fantastic multitaskers. They're doing all these different things at one time and they're juggling so much, and they want to be there to help support the company, but they also have to be there to take care of their loved ones. So I think understanding that will keep employees instead of losing them.
Right, right. I think that's a different point I never thought about the employers supporting it. And especially, I know some companies do. Some
Mhm.
companies, they have, I mean, it's not a paid leave, but
Mhm.
you can take a unpaid leave and you can help and do the caregiving for like 6 months. So I
Mhm.
think there are. It depends on employer to employer.
Right, right. And
So
the benefits
yeah.
vary greatly. A thing that some companies do that I really like is that they've had me come in and talk to their people, giving them ideas and ways to make the caregiving sustainable so that they can continue working longer. because
Mm-hmm.
I worked with mom having vascular dementia. I had things in place and things worked real well with as long as it was just her. But then when it became with dad, it wasn't sustainable anymore. But there are tools that you can do. And so getting them information, because many
Mm-hmm.
people too just aren't even aware of what comes next, what stages you're in, or what to expect. And if you know what to expect, you can be prepared for it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't, you're just blindsided. And then you're trying to come up with something on the spur of the moment, which, as we've
Mm-hmm.
already said, is very difficult to do.
Right, right. And so how do you reach the different employers? What's
Just
the
by reaching
strategy?
out to them. Just, yeah, usually email and then phone calls and talking word of mouth, talking to someone else. It's typically it's a lot harder to do, but that's how I do it.
Right, and so they come to you, and is it like they are going to arrange one of your workshops? Is
Hmm.
it they get all the employees together and they say, okay, we're having this session,
Hmm.
and that's how you do it?
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay, and it's not. Is it like you just go there, or you do a Zoom call?
I usually go there. I mean,
So
if someone wanted to do it over Zoom, I can do that as well. But
okay.
what I've done thus far has just been to go and teach them in person and let them ask all their questions and just support whatever way I can.
So what's your experience with that? Like you see a lot of people,
Mhm.
or they just come out and say that, hey, this was very helpful, and we're in this
Mhm.
situation, and we didn't even know that we're in that
Yes.
situation.
Yes. And what really helps them is the fact that I was a working caregiver. And so I'm there again. I know what that struggle is like. I lived it. And my employer was not real flexible because the job that I had was very demanding. And I was traveling 2 or 3 days a week, at least several weeks out of the month. And so it just wasn't possible for me to continue doing that work and
Mm-hmm.
support my parents. But hindsight, I could have taken a different job at the same company, or, we could have worked something out.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. So what's the vision behind the Caregivers Advocate Volume 2?
Volume two, is that what you're asking? Yeah, volume
Yeah, yeah.
two is ask everyone to think about something that they learned along the way that would have been so helpful had they known earlier in the journey. So I didn't put any parameters on what it could be, just anything that was super helpful once you learned it that you wish you would have learned sooner. So we're covering all different kinds of topics, a wide variety of information. And that's what you find in the Caregivers Advocate series. Volume one is the same way. It's got the 4 countries represented, and it's people sharing from all different walks of life. That's a parent caring for a terminally ill child, a spouse caring for her husband, the parental caregiving roles. All the different roles are represented in all those roles. And the sandwich generation caregiving is in volume two, where we have a person, who Paul Wynn, who was working and taking care, raising children and taking care of parents. So it's really a tough situation to be in, and dealing with grief and how you deal with it, how to have difficult conversations, how to talk to someone who has dementia. I mean, there's just so much information. And the fantastic thing is that we have all 5-star reviews on both those
Mm-hmm.
books. And we have reviews from doctors who have said that they've learned so much from reading the books. And to me, that's fantastic. I was just like, wow, this is great. And we have another doctor who said that he feels like volume two is the best caregiver resource he has ever seen. And he has it in his lobby so that his patients can see it when they come. So it's things like that that are fantastic, that mean a lot. But then what really, really touches your heart are the reviews who say, I thought I was alone. It felt like a friend coming up beside me and giving me a warm hug and encouraging me and telling me I can go on. That's what I wanted. That's what I love to read, because that's what we are. I selected people who want to help other caregivers, who genuinely have a heart to help and just want to make a difference. So they're both
That's
wonderful
wonderful.
resources for caregivers. And in the back, there's an entire resource section in both books that are proven resources that we use. And they're not the same in the two books, they're different.
Yeah, that's wonderful, Debbie. I think it's great that you're doing this for
Thank
other
you.
people, and I truly appreciate that. So
Thank you.
now, coming to the purple wine, what are the bottlenecks that you're facing with the business side of it?
Well, the purple vine, um, I guess the biggest challenge is just making people aware that it exists and that what all we can do for them and the support that's offered there. So I kind of think sometimes we're like the best kept secret. And that's why I also did the Caregivers Advocate series because these are many of them are small business owners who have wonderful tools, wonderful resources for caregivers, but not enough people know about them. So when all of us band together to form a book, then we can support each other and other caregivers learn about all these other valuable resources. And then the Caregivers Advocate Volume 3 is coming out July 21st, 2026. So I am very excited about it. Also, it has 20 authors from three countries, I think, three or four, maybe four. Four, I think, because we have a gentleman from Nigeria, people from Canada, Israel, and the United States. So four countries there also. So,
Wow, that's fantastic.
yeah,
That's going to be, yeah, you said July, right? July
July
21st.
1st. July 21st, it will be out, the Caregivers Advocate Volume 3. I expect it to do very well. It'll make you laugh, it'll make you cry, and you'll relate, you'll learn, and you'll be blessed.
Yeah, I all the best for that. So
Thank you.
seems like it'll be an interesting book with
hmm
the three,
I
four
expect it to
authors.
be number one, just like
Yep.
the others.
It,
The other
yeah.
two went to number one and won awards. I expect this one to do the same.
Cool. Yeah, it will. It will. I
hmm
mean, it's just coming from straight from your heart. So yeah,
Yep,
and there is a purpose in doing it. So yeah, it will.
right.
So where do you see technology fitting into the caregiving world?
Technology helps a lot because with the cameras, with my mom, when I had to put her into a facility towards the end, and I did not want to, but she was passing out. She outweighed me by 35 pounds. The doctor said, "This is not sustainable and you need to put her in a facility." So I cried and cried, but I got cameras and I put them in her room, one pointed towards her bed so that I could see, if she was sleeping, what was going on, and the other one so that I could see towards the restroom so that I, knew where she was at and what was happening. It was very comforting to be able to see her and know that she was okay. It was also a huge benefit because when she fell out of bed in the middle of the night and they didn't know, and I just happened to wake up to go to the restroom and I always rolled over and checked it, and then I saw her in the floor. So I called up there and told them because she had been in her bed when they ran the checks an hour before, but she was in the floor and who knows how long she'd have been there until, except
Yeah.
that I called them. So technology is a big benefit there as far as the cameras go and things. There are more things being created all the time. The insoles that have tracking devices in them that you can put in someone's shoe, those are incredible because then, they usually have their shoes on if they're going wandering somewhere or walking off somewhere, and you can
Right.
track them. And then
Right.
there's nice jewelry that's made that has tracking devices in it so that you'll be able to know where they are and that they're safe. Those things are wonderful. The telehelp things so that you don't have to drag them out to the doctor. You can many times just use telehelp and talk to someone. And then the bracelets too that can notify you when someone falls or if they're still very long or, a lot of different things. So there's a lot of great stuff. There's even technology that tracks medications when medications are taken and all sorts of stuff that I used to have to just chart on a regular piece of paper and now it's all digital.
Right, right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, technology is like accelerating so
hmm
fast, especially with AI coming into the picture.
hmm
Everything is like in your fingertips, and
Right.
you can either see the cameras or you can get their notes and show the timings and set the reminders. And with
hmm
AI, yeah, everything is possible. I think
Right.
that's what people are realizing.
Yeah, there's even timed medication dispensers. So you put their medication in the dispenser and it won't let the medication be taken until it's time. And
Yeah,
then it turns and opens and sets off an alarm for them to take their medicine. It's
yeah.
nice.
It is. It is. I mean, everything helps, right?
Yes. Yes.
So, if I ask you, what would your dream caregiver support tool looks like? If you had to dream for one tool, where your life gets easier with that tool?
Hmm, that's a good question. You know, everything, from a person who has nothing, any tool is going to benefit them. Stress relief tools benefit caregivers so much. And that's
Uh,
vital if you're going to extend your caregiving and make it sustainable. Sorry.
yeah, no, the tool is for you as a caregiver provider.
Okay, I misunderstood. What tool could I use to make things better for me
Yeah, where
as a
you can
caregiver
spend
provider?
more, yeah, so you can spend more time with the caregivers instead of, there's
And
something that you manually are doing right now,
hmm
a tool for you. And I know you said you're very creative, so you might have
yeah,
figured out, but what tool
well,
would that be?
I've purchased several AI tools that do specific tasks too, so
Mm-hmm.
that I can automate things that I don't need to be involved in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm beta testing one right now for a different company that is great, that will save me a lot of time because I just do basically a speech. I just talk and record it, and then it splices it up and makes it into marketing tools that it sends out. And so that's fantastic. It's not where it needs to be yet, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a huge time saver because I don't like doing marketing. I don't mind talking. I love teaching. I love training,
Mm-hmm.
but I
Mm-hmm.
don't like spending all the time creating posts and things. So,
So, what's the name of the tool? Just curious.
velocity.
Velocity.
Yep.
Okay, something to. So, what does it do? It just records your voice and turns
Your
into a.
audio, you video and audio. I just open up, go onto the website and then record me talking about something, and then I can also have it set to interview so that it will ask me interview questions and I answer those questions, and then it takes the recording and splices it up and makes little video shorts out of it, and it
Huh.
also makes written posts that I look at and correct and approve before they go out and
Oh,
set
that's
which ones to
amazing.
go. Yeah, it's really cool. And I love it because it's helping because I am so creative. So people come to me to test products, which is I love doing. I'll give them feedback all day because I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to do this. Why won't it do that?
Yeah. No, I think I never heard of it. I think that's very
Yeah, it's
interesting and
I'm
it's
in the beta
productive as
test group.
well.
hmm Yeah, it's
So
great. I'm loving it so far.
now you're already using a tool
hmm
to make you more productive.
Yes.
So that's interesting.
hmm
So I think we're coming to an end. So what's your plans for like next 6 to 12 months? If you have like a magic wand in your hand, what do you want to change and what do you want to do
I
in the process that you're especially around the question is especially around the business that you're in. So is
well,
there
what
something that you want to change?
I have a lot of things that I want to do, and I don't have enough time to do them all. So I want to do a caregiver supported cruise where caregivers and their loved ones go on the cruise together, and I teach them different stress reduction techniques, different trainings to care for your loved one better, whatever help they need. And then we do caregiver support circles so that they can communicate with other people and build that camaraderie and realize they're not alone. Then also a few hours of the day for them to have peace and quiet, rest, do whatever they want to do, and we take care of their loved ones so they know they're safe and secure. So I want that to happen, and I'm in the process, but there's just a lot of steps to it to make it happen, and then to find the right people that to participate and are willing to go and make new memories with their loved one because they'll be safe. We'll have also nurses and stuff there too on call.
Hmm.
So that's a big thing that I want to do that's coming up, and then to continue to do speeches and education. And then I have the book that'll be coming out in a few months for
Mm-hmm.
volume 3 and promoting it. I also am just creating a new website that's thecaregiversadvocate.com. And I've got a lot of different things. I'd love to be able to wave that magic wand and have that website done so that it's because I want to feature all of the
Uh-huh.
authors from the Caregivers Advocate series. So that's
Hmm.
like 60 people. And I want to feature them, each one on that, and then probably create a members area where you have videos, trainings, all sorts of things from those authors that they've created, all in support of caregivers, everything to support caregivers.
That's interesting. That's like a really big list of aspirations. So yeah,
And that's
I
not
think
even all of it, but
so.
it's
Yeah, I
enough.
mean, yeah, it's a lot. Again, you just need to start with one, and I know like you are already using AI,
Hmm.
so I think there will be tools out there, especially for website building.
Hmm.
It's not hard at all right now.
Well, I have the outline done, but I mean all the
Okay.
fill in work, the
Okay.
boring stuff.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's not really a big task if you ask me, coming from a tech background. So
Mm.
so yeah, I think this is really good. And let me see if I have any questions I missed. I think I covered most of them, and I'm truly like blessed to hear all this knowledge, and
Mm.
I I will take whatever I want to take, and I think it will help me in my life. So yeah,
Good.
Debbie, this
Thank you.
conversation has been one of the one of the most grounding and
Oh,
human conversations we had on this
awesome.
show.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I think you have that positive outlook on seeing even a bad thing in a humorous way. I think
Hmm.
that's a true blessing. It's not everyone can do it.
Right.
I'm pretty sure,
Yeah.
especially listening to what you have gone through. So it is. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your story and your mission and added your heart with our audience today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And really good questions. Several of them I was like, I don't know. Great questions, though. Thank you. I enjoyed it. It was nice to get to know you better.
And if someone wants to find you, Debbie, where can they find you?
Yes, my website is thepurplevine.com, and then they can email me also, deb@thepurplevine.com, or they can follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. I'm on all of those as well. I love connecting with people, so just come on over and connect and we can have a conversation.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Debbie. Thanks for your
Thank you.
time. I appreciate it.
Bye bye.